think I've dropped the notification everywhere I wanted to, so how about we dive into this? So, I've got one viewer showing up according to Stream Elements, so whoever it happens to be, hi there. So let's get caught up for a moment. Oh, hi, Rafkin. Yeah, so last time around we faced off against the first gym leader. And thanks to Phoebe being an absolute monster, we were able to pull through. And then we went and caught Oleander, or Ollie. And Ollie actually decided to come with an extra surprise. Ollie was holding this item called the Poison Barb, which I actually checked since then. Budu on Route 4 have exactly a 5% chance of holding a Poison Barb, so this was actually really lucky, especially because in a full Poison-type run, that's going to be a useful item. It boosts the power of Poison-type moves. Now, since the last stream, I've gone and I went ahead and ran back and forth for a long time. There was a reason for that. And I'm not talking about in real life, I'm talking in game. See, the thing is, I'll actually show a reference here. If we take a look here on... oh, let me get to the right page. So this route is where we caught Budu. And if we take a look here, Budu actually doesn't evolve unless it levels up. Oh crap. It has to level up during the day with high happiness. Which means I'm going to take a moment real quick to cheat. I'm just gonna change my time real quick. Let's see. What time is it in Jerusalem? No. I didn't remember that it had to be daytime. Ah, that should work. Okay. So now, if we notice here, oh, hang on. Now, if we go back, if we head inside real quick and then step out, I believe that will update the time, allowing us to get this game to daytime. No, it won't. Okay. You know, I really thought that I had this set. This is a little bit tricky. I need to figure out how to change the time. Otherwise, this might not be the best game to go with. We are going to do something real quick. Here we go. Let's see if that worked. You know, I really thought that I had this all together. This might be it. Okay. We've got daytime. So, the reason we need daytime, as I was saying, is because now, next time Badoo levels up, we can go ahead and get, well, when Badoo at some point levels up, we will be free to get a Roselia. We are going to hold off on that for a minute. Man, we seem to be getting all of the rare encounters here, like, really fast. We're we're going to go ahead and run from the Ralts. So that's a bad matchup for us. So yeah, we're gonna wander through this maze real quick. Try and pick up a couple of items as we make our way north. And there are a few hidden items waiting at the end of these dead ends. Those honeys will be important later on, and I'll explain why when the time comes. But basically, honey allows us to force what's called a horde encounter, where we encounter 5 fairly weak Pokemon all at once. And that... oh, you can't see it right now? Oh, yeah, my bad, sorry. This is the maze that we're making our way through. Thank you for calling that out. Yeah, so a minute ago we picked up an item called Honey, which lets us force several Pokemon to appear at once, and that'll be useful if we have a certain desirable trait that we want in a Pokemon. For example, if we want a specific ability, a horde encounter can allow us to scout through those Pokemon for that ability. Now, if we get a Pokemon that knows Sweet Scent, we won't need the honey for it anymore, but at the moment we don't have one, and Ollie won't learn Sweet Scent until he's like, I think like level 30 something. So yeah, this isn't the craziest point of the run. We do have one encounter coming up that will involve kind of a scary battle, but if we're careful, it should still be pretty doable. Oh, where are the roller skate people? Aha! I thought there was a honey in one of these bushes. You're heading to work, Blizz? Well, thanks for popping in while you could. Best of luck at work. I hope everything goes well and that you have a great day. And here we find the reason that Ollie having a poison barb was helpful, but not absolutely critical. See, there's actually a poison barb that's always sitting right here that we can pick up. But hey, I won't say no to having 2, especially when it's an item that is just generally very good for this run. may have noticed that I'm kind of avoiding trainers here. And there's a reason for that. See, I want to pick up one specific item before the end of this route. And I'll be getting it from these folks. These folks are, frankly, just pretty forgettable. But this is what I wanted before we try any fights on this route. TM27 Return gives us an option for a much stronger move on Phoebe, especially because I had to run back and forth for so long to boost Ollie's friendship to make sure he'd be ready to evolve. And since Phoebe was in the party at the same time, Phoebe should have really high friendship as well. So now we can go ahead and replace Fury Attack with its inconsistent number of hits and general inaccuracy with Return. Generally just a really good move. And that's one thing, if you're playing a Nuzlocke, you can actually get a lot of very useful things, like a lot of very useful benefits by grinding for some friendship on your Pokemon early on. We'll see another example of that not too far ahead into the run once we catch a Zubat, because Zubat, first of all, it's a poison type and a fantastic Nuzlocke encounter. I know that might shock some of you who played the early games and have been to Mount Moon, but yes, Zubat is a good Pokemon. Zubat can evolve into Crobat, and Crobat is absurdly fast, and you can get it really early on because all you have to do is get to the level for Golbat and then get a bunch of friendship. Now, as I said, it takes some grinding. You have to deal with the fact that you need to run back and forth with your Pokemon for a while or things like that. But having a Pokemon that can evolve into a strong, fully evolved Pokemon really early is just too good to ignore. Now, at this point, we are going to back up, and I'm actually going to temporarily put Beedrill in... Actually, you know what? We'll go a little bit further along this way with Beedrill in the party, but I want to get some levels on Ollie. Now, what does this lady have? She has a Psyduck and a Litleo. Yeah, that shouldn't be too difficult. But yeah, we want to get some levels onto Ollie because there is actually one more pretty difficult fight coming up. And we'll want to give Ollie as much of a chance of success as possible. I actually need to check something. Okay, they set up water sport for us. That's actually pretty helpful. See, as a general rule, the move Water Sport isn't all that helpful because it tends to be learned by water types, and all it does is decrease the damage that fire type moves do. But the thing is, Ollie is a grass type that learns it, which actually gives us a lot of help against potential fire type battles. And thanks to that water sport, we have a bit better chance of safely switching in here. See, that should have done a lot more, but water sport weakened that ember. And now, we can use our fancy new move, Return. And Ollie levels up. And see how Ollie is trying to evolve? Now we're not actually going to let that happen, so I'm going to start pressing B to cancel that. I want to keep Ollie I want to keep Ollie unevolved until level 16. Hang on. Give me 1 sec. I just remembered that I've still got the speed up. Oh, no, never mind. I did change the speed up. Yeah, so we're just gonna hit up a couple of these trainers. For some quick experience bonuses, so that we can get Ollie a couple of levels. And I have turned off the experience share, so we won't be getting extra experience on Phoebe for the moment. Oh. Looks like we're facing this person with her bumblebee. The nice thing is, while Ollie isn't quite as strong as he could be yet, we have Phoebe in the back, and Phoebe is ridiculously strong for this point in the game. Thank you for the follow, B. Marching.
Is now following.
And pick up a couple of items along this route. I'm just gonna do a quick check to make sure I don't try fighting someone that we have a really bad matchup into. Oh, this guy doesn't want to fight. This guy will, but we've got a pretty decent matchup into him. Because he has a fighting type, and we resist fighting type moves with everyone on our team. I'm gonna lead out with a stun spore. That'll paralyze it, which means it moves more slowly, and it has a chance to be unable to attack. Now, it did just go for counter there, but counter only works with physical moves, and absorb is not physical. So, we can take a moment, boost our offenses with a couple of growths, and basically swallow the thing's life energy. If you were expecting Pokemon to be a happy game, where have you been? Pokemon is about brutally destroying your opponents with extreme prejudice. And of course I'm joking, but I had to make the lousy joke, didn't I? I love how much work Ollie's Poison Point ability is already putting in. So many attacks have just led to the opponent getting poisoned. See, the one really worrying fight that we've got coming up is actually against the Pokemon Professor for this region. See, this Pokemon Professor challenges us to a battle with all three starters from the first generation. So he has a Charmander, a Squirtle, and a Bulbasaur. Which, okay, Charmander and Squirtle Bulbasaur and Squirtle aren't too much trouble, but that Charmander could do some real damage into our Grass type and Bug type. So, we want to get a few levels on him, and we can because the next level cap for gym number 2 is 25, which is more than twice the level cap of the first gym. It's a pretty long trek between the first gym and the second, but that does mean that we'll be able to pick up some cool new team members there. And over here, actually, they took a leaf out of Generation 1's book for this. The entrance to Victory Road, which is what we have to pass through to get to the final challenge of the game, the Elite Four and the Champion, is right by the first town. But we don't really we can't get through there yet. And we would die immediately, no matter how hardcore Phoebe is, we would die. Now, we're gonna switch up Pokemon real quick. Because when I looked at the document, when I looked online before, it was saying that this guy leads with a Pidgey. And obviously flying types are a bit dangerous for our team right now. So we send in Phoebe, who has the raw power needed to destroy this thing pretty easily. And sometimes it's just nice to go out of our way to take down some of these trainers that are lingering around otherwise, just to make sure that we've covered our bases and don't get caught off guard if we decide to pass through these areas again. And now we can just take a couple of minutes, steamroll through some wild Pokemon to get Ollie up a couple of levels. The goal is to have... oh, let's see, what was it? The goal is to have Ollie be level 15 when we go into our battle with Professor Sycamore. 15 and close-ish to the level cap, because that will give us the chance to evolve pretty soon. But more importantly, there's a move that we learn at level 16 that we're going to really want for this. I think I'll save the explanation on why that is for later, because I think it'll make more sense once I can actually show you. Man, I love this speed up. No, won't go in there. So yeah, right now it's just gonna be a few minutes of beating up wild animals for health. We could probably swing by Route 4 soon here and take on some of the trainers over there as well. I just want to get a couple of levels on them, because a couple of them actually do have some kind of frightening Pokemon. But Leo, could you please leave us alone? We're not gonna fight you. One thing I actually really do appreciate about this game is just the fact that they actually give you access to a fire type other than the starter this early on. Because that little cat thing, Leo, is a fire type Pokemon. Ah, yes, here we go. Mega Drain. That's much better than Absorb because it's twice as strong. But yeah, Litleo is a fire-type Pokemon, which can be a pretty good help for the first gym. Oh, look at that. One shot against that Bunnelby. I did also take the time to super train up Ollie to make sure that it had as much special attack as it could. Oh hey, it's a Bidoof. I'm not as crazy about Bidoof as some of the community is, but, you know, I like it. As far as Pokemon designs go, it's definitely decent. It's got a derpy little face and all that, so, you know, what's not to love? You know what? Rio, I am actually going to just wreck you real quick. Maybe then you will learn to stay away. Ah, Flabébé. You know, that thing is less than 2 feet tall, and I really wanted to find one when I was playing through my height lock, because it could still evolve once, if not twice, and it's just a very good Pokemon line, generally. But despite it being the most common thing in several areas, I never got one as my first encounter. I was completely without a fairy type, and that made more than a couple of fights pretty stinking difficult. Ollie, if you could hold off for another level or two, that'd be great. Luckily, I did manage to find strategies to deal with the Dragon-type member of the Elite Four regardless, but I did want a Flabébé, and the number of times I managed to miss getting one is actually kind of ridiculous. So both of these skaters have a flying type. So we are going to put Phoebe out front. However, we're also going to turn on the experience share. Oh, what the? There we go. Yeah, this is basically our strategy at the moment, is if there's something scary, we send in our fully evolved bug type and use the extremely powerful move that we've taught it and hope for the best. There's not really much more depth to the strategy at the moment. Oh, come on. There we go. take down Roller Skater Roland. And we do want some levels on Phoebe. We can go ahead and get Phoebe a little bit ahead of Ollie still. Because again, we want as much of an advantage as we can get when we go into the fight with Professor Sycamore. Okay. So this girl, you're not going to believe what she has. I mean, talk about weak. All she has is a little flower bud. Obviously, I am joking, but our flower bud is pretty clearly superior to hers. Phoebe levels up. And now we can go ahead and take on a couple more of these. We might come back and fight that lady. But we're probably going to leave the gardeners who are running around in the hedge mazes alone. Because while their only Pokemon is a water type, it's a Corphish, which actually hits pretty hard for this stage of the game. So I'm more than happy just to skip it for the moment. As opposed to the Pikachu and Pichu that this guy has, which... Come on, how are rats supposed to take on a flower bud, really? Oh. Yeah, we're gonna leave that lady because I am a little bit worried about over-leveling. Oh, far-fetched. This... You know what? We're gonna try it. You know what? That should be good. Because our next battle is the Sycamore battle, and... Oh, hang on. I didn't actually mean to use Poison Sting there, but oh well. We'll take out this lady with Beedrill with just the... with the experience share off. That should let Beedrill evolve. That should let Beedrill level up one more time, but we won't have to worry about Ollie. Okay, never mind. Burmy are so weak that they're literally not worth enough experience to level up there. The reason I want Beedrill to hit level 16 is because he learns the move Twin Needle, which, while it still won't actually be as strong as Return, because I maximized Phoebe's friendship, it will still be pretty strong. You know what? We're going to go ahead and drop Focus Energy. It's a little bit less reliable than Recover because... or than Harden. Because Harden guarantees the chance that... guarantees that we will get more defense, whereas Focus Energy just means that we might get a critical hit. And I want to update sorry, I wanted to move around Beedrill's moves real quick. Because that just helps to make it so that we don't have to worry quite as much, since the move that we're going to be clicking like 90% of the time is Return. And there is the Pokemon Laboratory. But before I go there, let's see here. Oh, we don't have the money needed to get any good TMs. Yes, I have Ollie in the front. Let's see. So this lady gives me a few free luxury balls. And sadly, while I can't use them in this run, it is worth knowing that these boxes are what's used if you use a Rotom in this game. You can use those boxes to change up its type, which is very useful. It's part of what helped Rotom be so good in my height lock. And there's that guy. Ooh, and this lady gives me the false swipe TM. And yeah, I think we're ready. You'll find that we are just going to jitter-click through a lot of these conversations because, quite frankly, while these games are really fun, they're not, the writing isn't quite as good as we might wish. So I am going to see if I can take out this Bulbasaur using just Ollie. I'll start by setting up, I think 4 growths isn't unreasonable here. That should help us deal with its resistance to our moves. And now we want to set up Water Sport because that'll make it so for the next 5 turns, fire moves do less damage. And that should allow us to safely switch into the Ember that Charmander is about to use with Phoebe. So by pivoting into Phoebe, with that up, we're able to take that Ember really easily and knock it out with Return. And this is the move that we wanted to wait for Ollie to learn. Because we wanted Water Sport for this fight, but after this, it's not really that big a deal. It's going to be a minute before we encounter any more fire types, and by then we're going to have some more Pokemon, some of which won't be weak to fire type moves. So we can go ahead and drop Worry Seed in exchange, or drop Water Sport in exchange for Worry Seed. And that will give us the chance. Actually, we're gonna go ahead and switch back to no, we're not, because we don't want Ollie to hit level 17 by accident. Worry Seed will allow us to scout abilities on wild Pokemon, so that we have a better chance in horde battles of getting a Pokemon with the ability that we want. And why not? Let's use Twin Needle. And now, Ollie, you are free to evolve. And we wanted Ollie to evolve while still at level 16 because I believe that will give him the chance to learn another move that is very useful. That is Leech Seed, if I'm not mistaken. Ollie wants to learn Leech Seed. And out of the 4 moves, Stun Spore is definitely the easiest to drop. We're going to have other options for Paralysis. And I don't know that we actually have a pressing need for it at the moment. And then we actually get our latest encounter. We get to pick a Pokemon. I hope y'all can guess which one I'm going to pick given the challenge that I'm doing. Because obviously, the only one of these toxic enough to be on my team is Charmander. I mean, just look at his face. He would obviously swear at you in an online game and, I don't know, threaten to burn your house down or something. No, it's Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur is part poison type, so it is a valid addition to our team. And as per the rules, we're going to give it a name. And this is a name that I was holding on to for a minute here. If Bulbasaur was female, it was going to be Poison Ivy, but since this Bulbasaur is male, he's Poison Ivan. And we do get the Venusaurite Megastone. And honestly, I still haven't decided whether or not I'm going to allow Mega Evolution in this run. I don't know that we'll need it, but at the same time, I do like Mega Venusaur. Out of all of the Megas of all the Kanto starters, it's easily my favorite. Stop talking, old guy. Yeah, so with all of that, we were able to get through pretty safely. Oh, I think they actually went ahead and healed us up after the battle. That's nice. We got Ollie to evolve, and we got Poison Ivan. Ooh, who has a plus special attack nature. That'll actually be very helpful. Oh, hang on, what were your moves? So we got Tackle, Growl, Leech Seed, and Vine Whip. Ah, and this guy. Yeah, he won't be important. Obviously. I mean, I don't even know why I need to say that. He's such a subtle character in the games, like... Alright, good night, Rafkin. Have a good evening and good luck with whatever you got going on. So, Callum wants us to meet him in a cafe. I mean, I'm obviously out of his league, but, you know. we still don't have quite enough money. But now that we are... Now that we do have a fully evolved, or a somewhat evolved Ollie, I feel a bit more comfortable going back to beat up these gardeners. There we go. Honestly, the biggest downside to the way the experience share works in this game is that you can't use it to decrease the amount of experience each individual Pokemon gets. They just all get the full experience. Which, honestly, kind of annoying. Because it does mean that we have to play around the level cap a little bit more carefully at times. But again, we're about to have several Pokemon, including a good bit of redundancy in type coverage, so it shouldn't be a big issue. As long as we don't run all of our Pokemon up close to the level cap at once, we're pretty safe to deal with. We're pretty safe from over-leveling. Just enough money to buy something here, and I am going to go ahead and buy Bulldoze. This guy wants to bug us to hang out in a cafe. Yeah, don't worry about this guy. I'd be really surprised if he ever showed up again. His name is Lysander, but it's not like anyone really needs to know that. So, Tierno wants to battle us. That guy gives us some items that I've never actually learned how to use. I think they're only actually useful for online stuff. Ah, and here's the Lucario. That the game is going to keep attempting us to form an attachment to. And it is time for our next encounter. So hang on, I'm going to to turn off the experience share. Now, there's only one valid encounter in here on Route 5. It's a poison type called Gulping. But because I don't just want... Because I want to have the best ability possible, we're going to go ahead and use the honey. See, the honey will allow us to force a horde encounter, as you see here. However, that wasn't Gulpin, so we are going to run. But if we do this a couple of times, it should give us a decent chance at encountering a horde of Gulpin. Come on. Yes! That's exactly what we wanted. So the thing about this is that this horde of Gulpin, we're going to hunt around and see what their abilities are using Worry Seed. Worry Seed gives us a way to change the ability of one of these Pokemon. Okay, so that Gulpin had Sticky Hold. Now it has Insomnia. And Sticky Hold is pretty much the worst ability for this run, because really none of our opponents do anything to try and take away items. So we're going to Mega Drain that Gulpin real quick and just try and... Oh, we didn't take it out. Well, that kind of sucks. Yeah, so obviously it is a little bit dangerous trying to fight 5 Pokemon at once, but they are significantly lower level than us, which makes it a little bit safer. And we have Mega Drain to help keep us a bit healthier. So now let's test the one on the opposite side. That one also had Sticky Hold. And thankfully, one less Gulpin means one less attack we have to take each turn. Let's test this one. Really? How are they all Sticky Hold? So luckily they're only doing about 2 damage a hit to us. I probably should have set up with a growth at the start, but, you know, hindsight and all that. Okay. What about you? Far left. Well, center left. Again with the sticky hold. What about you in the middle? How were 5 out of 5 of those sticky hold golden? Like, the odds on that. Fine. I'll just go ahead and... I'll kill the slower one. And now we can chuck a Pokeball. We actually have to defeat 4 of them before we can try and catch any. The game like pops up a message saying, oh, you can't throw a Pokeball when there are too many Pokemon in the way, or something ridiculous like that. We are just going to keep throwing Pokeballs though, because honestly, most of our attacks from most of our Pokemon could pretty easily kill this thing, especially if they get a critical hit. And we don't want to miss the capture. Now if you could just stay in that Pokeball, thank you. Okay. Let's see, what could we name Gulpin? Okay, I think I've got an idea. I think we'll go ahead and name Gulpin Sulfide. Because by my Googling, it looks like the scientific name for mustard gas is bis-2-chlorethyl sulfide. I'm sure sulfide probably has multiple meanings, but you know, we're naming him after mustard. We're naming him, yes, him, after mustard gas. And Yeah, I was really hoping for at least Liquid Ooze on the Gulpin. Actually, there is always a chance in a Horde encounter that a Pokemon will have its hidden ability, and Gulpin's hidden ability is a good bit better than either of its normal abilities, so... what do these two have? So we want to check these things before we just dive into battle. Yeah, these two have a Plusle and a Minun. That shouldn't really pose any trouble for Phoebe and Ollie, both of whom are a little bit ridiculous at this stage of the game. We are going to double down on the Minun. Okay, so Ollie can take out the Minun in a single hit. That's helpful. And the Plusle just went for ground. All right. And the next battle is against Tierno. His level 12 Corphish. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and see. No. I was about to say I'd see if sorry, Go-Go, I'd be happy to catch you, but you're not a poison type, and therefore you lack the toxicity to play in this, to work in this town. Yeah. See, the reason Corphish is scary at this stage of the game is because it can learn Sword Stance, which is honestly a real pain. Because it does have a solid attack stat and a couple of fairly strong physical moves. Oh, and this guy gave me an extra honey. That'll be helpful in case I want to cause a horde encounter before I actually get that. Okay, this next guy we can take, but he's going to highlight something that's important in this run. See, he has a Kadabra. An illegal Kadabra, I might add, since Abra doesn't evolve until level 16. But psychic types are actually one of the scariest things that we can encounter in this run, because basically everything that we're going to have will be weak to psychic types. And there's not many options we have for resisting psychic type moves, especially at this stage of the game. Now luckily we should be pretty safe to outspeed, and Phoebe can easily take these things, take down psychic types with Twin Needle, but had I not been leading with Phoebe, I probably would have actually lost a Pokemon there. Just to the random guy in the middle of a random route. Oh, and those rails you can grind on in this game with your roller skates. It's important for getting certain items. going to go down one more time, because this is where we pick up our first Oranberry. Now luckily we do have other ways of getting Oranberries, but like we get a whole bunch of them as a gift in an area coming up here. But Oranberries will be important. So, no sense in not having one on hand when we have the chance. What do these skaters have? Because I know there are some items back there past them. Looks like we've got a Bunnelby, a Skiddo, and a Doduo. So the one here with the Bunnelby and the Skiddo should be pretty easy. The Duo would be a little bit more scary, but we have Phoebe, which should make it significantly safer. I mean, just look at that attack stat. For this stage of the game, that's actually insane. Yeah, this should still be an easy win with Phoebe. So we've got 6 levels on it. There are a couple of items back this way that I don't feel like missing, like that yellow Pokeball. That yellow Pokeball right there tells us that there's a TM inside of it. We just have to run from the large dogs. Sad, I know, but you know, sometimes you just have to do things like that. And there we go. We got the TM for Hone Claws. That's actually really good at this stage of the game. A nice boosting move. Could actually do a lot for us, and I just walked into a battle that I didn't mean to. Okay, good. It's just a Sentret. And that item didn't turn out to be anything useful, but it could have been. So, check things. Oh wow! A horde of Gulpin. What do you want to bet that all of them have liquid ooze, except for one which probably has gluttony? No, I'm not still salty, you are. Oh hey, Doduo. I guess that makes sense. One of the trainers had one, so it's no surprise that there was one on this route somewhere. And there's a Pancham. And they have hologram phones in Pokemon France. You know, I think once upon a time a lot of people thought that hologram phones were the way we were gonna go. Like, with technology, but oh hey, this is the guy who lets you change nicknames. No, all of the nicknames on my Pokemon are perfect. doing on Pokeballs? Let's at least grab... Oh, hang on. You know, I just realized back when we were in Lumio City before, I was thinking that we had enough money for a TM. No, we don't. The ones there cost 10,000 Poké Dollars, and we've only got 1,000. We only had 1,000 at the time. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we never want to run out of Pokeballs, at least while we've still got encounters ahead of us, because if we try and catch a Pokemon and run out of Pokeballs in the process, that's just it. We're stuck with that. We can't catch it. Guy. We're gonna avoid him, because he kind of weirds me out, honestly. Like, he just goes around, he hands gifts to this... I'm not actually sure the age of this kid. The ages of the protagonists in Pokemon games actually vary pretty significantly. I assume it's their way of making up for the fact that Ash hasn't aged once. And we got the TM for Thief. That's useful for getting held items from wild Pokemon, which can be important for getting some held items in the game. For example, oh, sweetheart. For example, in my height lock, I wound up spending a good little chunk of time trying to find a thick club for my Cubone, since that's an important item for Cubone. So yeah, what's happening right here is that it turns out there's a Snorlax that's decided to camp the road in the route ahead of us, because this game is pretty much obsessed with the first generation of Pokemon, and so they just felt the need to add a bunch of Gen 1 references. That's literally it. There's not really much more reason for it. But it does force us to go along. So if we make our way over here, first of all, these people decide to give us a berry field. And a bunch of orange berries. So this is actually a very useful area, because obviously berries are very good items. We can give them to Pokemon and they'll use them when the time is right. So I'm actually going to go ahead and plant I think 3 orange berries will be enough for right now. I'd like to plant more, but we're probably going to face that Snorlax today, and well, I think we're gonna want berries for that. Oh, That's right. We have to actually go and find out about the Snorlax officially before we can go and deal with the issue. So the way to wake up a Snorlax is to use a Poké-Flute. And these guys used to have a Poké-Flute, which they would use whenever this thing showed up. From staying in the mountains the way it normally does. So apparently it comes down here somewhat regularly and takes a nap on the bridge. But they had to basically pawn off their Poké-Flute to the guy who lives in this fancy palace up here. And it's actually along this road that we get our next encounter, which is right here. See, we had to bait it to pop out of the bushes, so we might have had to walk back and forth there for a while, but things have been going rather fortunately. And rather risk killing this little Venipede, I am just gonna chuck a Pokeball. And there we go. Next Google search. Poisonous centipede. Ah, jeez. Hold on. You know, before I keep going, yeah, I think it's best if I slow down that music. So it looks like the most poisonous centipede, or the most venomous centipede in the world, or one of the more venomous centipedes, is the Scolopendra subspinates. And yeah, why not? We'll go with subspinates. Wait. Actually, we'll go with Scolopendra. And we'll just call her Pendra. And now seems like a really good time before we actually have to go through the stuff needed to face that Snorlax, which we do have to battle before we can get past it. Now seems like a really good time to backtrack to somewhere a little bit safer and do some training. Oh man, that Pancham has Mold Breaker. That's a really good ability. Yeah, we get like a pretty large number of encounters before the next gym. Okay. Honestly, if I had as much effort as they put into it, I honestly really kind of dislike Lumio City, which is basically Pokemon Paris. Just because it's so hard to navigate the map there. So let's see here. Now let's give Scolipede some attack. Oh, wait. Well. I thought I was giving it attack, I was giving it special attack. Meanwhile, Gulpin is actually it doesn't actually hit hard. And I don't think we want to really worry about that too much. I think we're going to focus on its utility options, which are actually really good on the whole. And just give it... I think we're going to train it in HP and defense. And now for some more super training. So, you know, this is obviously the most exciting content that you can find on Twitch. So I hope you're buckled up, because, yeah, we're going to be kicking soccer balls at a Geodude balloon, as one does. Luckily, this isn't one of the harder training balloons to deal with. My aim is bad today. Yeah, luckily this isn't exactly the hardest thing to super train against, because honestly, Gulpin doesn't hit that hard, even when it's hitting with its defense stat. Okay, come on, Sully. Yeah, the main thing that we're concerned with at this point is making sure that we don't go recklessly into any battles that we should be able to play through safely. Because this is the stage of the game where it would really, really stink to lose a Pokemon that would be important later in the game, just as a result of getting impatient or something. Oh, and that one actually went pretty quickly. I don't know why I chose this one random spot in the middle of a route to work on this, especially when there are some really cool locations. Like, look at that right there. That's a nice background for this. See, what I've generally found is that when a Pokemon is weaker, the punching bags are a much faster way to get them some extra power, like to get them some extra points. But when a Pokemon is stronger, you want to leave it for a while because they can actually clear these things very fast. And that would have gone a lot more smoothly had I not been in speed up mode at the start. And maybe I shouldn't worry as much as I do about super training. It's just a matter of how much work I want to put in the late game when it could actually matter a lot more. But on the other hand, it takes a little bit more, well, it takes a good deal more effort to go back and try and fix a Pokemon's effort values than it does to just do them well the first time. I wonder what these balloons, like, really are. Like, are these actual Pokemon? Are they robots? Are they the souls of Pokemon trapped in giant balloons? Do they feel pain? Am I just constantly beating them in all of their weak points with soccer balls? You know, you gotta wonder these things. Because if you don't wonder these things, then who will? Oh, I'm actually really close to getting the medal on this one. At least the super training music is a bit of a bop. Yeah, so you get a medal in super training if you get it done under 30 seconds, and I think you need medals in all 6 of the different categories in order to gain access to slightly faster super training. Which is always nice, because the main downside to super training is that while it is faster than some of the alternatives, it is also slower than options like, well, it's just slow. Not even that I can specifically mention something faster that we could be doing at the moment, because the only other really fast option for EV training is actually horde battles, but we don't have a fast way of doing them right now, especially since we don't have a Pokemon that knows the move Sweet Scent yet. Apparently our sweat will only make us stronger, that's what the game says. And if our sweat will only make us stronger, it will not make us stinky, so that's an advantage. That's an advantage. Let's see. Gulpin is coming along. kind of want to do a couple of rounds of Gulpin with the HP training, though. Yeah, the fastest way to deal with, or to train up a Pokemon with proper EVs is to go crazy with horde battles. But until Poison Ivan actually learns Sweet Scent, we really don't have a good option for starting horde battles fast. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot this is how these... I forgot this is how this training goes. So you take out a bunch of goals on this guy, and you get one goal that stays around for a while. Oh, hey, so we've beaten a super training level in all of them, and that unlocked some new super training regimens. But we're going to stick with the easier ones, because while the others are faster, they also require higher stats. Which means, yeah, our Gulpin's not going to do very well on those. They're better for when we pick up a Pokemon later in the game. And it starts out with stats high enough that we can super train effectively on them. Right now, the only things with high enough stats to actually effectively do the faster super training regimen are already trained. Luckily, the basic HP training is definitely one of the easier ones, especially with rapid shots. Since Gulpin is one of the Pokemon that shoots lots of those smaller yellow soccer balls in rapid succession, it makes it a little bit easier because we don't really have to worry about accuracy. See, look at that time. I might not fully EV train Gulpin, because I actually think that a somewhat balanced spread could serve it well. Just in general, I feel like since I don't know when it attacks, what attacking stat it's necessarily going to be using, just because of how weird its level up move pool is, it might be worthwhile to have a few attack and special attack EVs on it. On the bright side, the more I do this, the more I do super training, the more you get this gripping content of soccer balls being thrown at giant, somewhat sentient balloons, and Pokemon hitting punching bags in pixel art form. One punch, two punch, 1-2 punch, 1-2 strength. Who the crap wrote these? I do like how they gave each of the punching bags a pattern that references a certain Pokemon that's known for being good in that stat. Just nice, you know? It's a nice touch. Okay, you know what? I'm going to try something. I am going to attempt to hit Relicanth's weak points. Yeah, luckily, the balloons representing defensive Pokemon don't necessarily have the best attacking options, meaning they are still kind of doable even at these low levels. So like there, we were able to beat Relicanth in under a minute. with a level 5 Gulpin. And since each round of this gives 8 effort values, we can actually pick up the pace a little bit. There's my water. Hydration. It's important. Yeah, one of the important things to remember in these high-level super training things is that you can actually charge up attacks by holding down the button to attack. And that gives you access to hits that do 3 times as much damage when they actually land. Which is really important on Pokemon like Gulpin, where they fire smaller balls that don't do as much damage. That might have actually gotten just under 30 seconds. Nope, just under 40. Alright, you giant soulless relicanth balloon. I can't actually prove that you're soulless, but still. I'm going to assume that you are. Because if you weren't, why wouldn't you just give me all of these EVs? You know the funny thing about this? I've streamed this game for less than 5 hours now. And even when I spent some time running back and forth to get some extra friendship on Phoebe and Ollie, that only took me like maybe 40 minutes. But because of all of the time I've spent using speed up and the way that it works, I've actually got like over 10 hours listed on this save file. Like, it's probably up to maybe 13, 14 hours on this save. Alright, let's get you some of these. Come on, Sully. Punch the punching bag. Oh hey, would you look at that sunset? It's actually really neat how the sun wound up behind the fountain that shows us Ollie. I don't know why they made a fountain for Ollie before, you know, he was actually a Roselia, but I'm assuming it has something to do with like some kind of prophecy. Keep going. Oh, keep going. Sully, you got this. Alright, now for a round of defense. Oh, this one. So this one is going to have kind of a force field style thing that it throws up, like that. And we have to hit the little circle on it in order to break through the defenses to get shots off on it. And much like the last one, it does give us target that sticks around for a minute. And there we go. for the Pokemon that don't rapid fire balloons, or rapid fire in this. Those shields are actually so annoying because they're actually kind of hard to hit. If you can't just fire a spread of attacks that'll kind of sort of hit the area and do what you want them to. I do find it kind of comically funny how, like, this is literally a Pokemon that is like a foot tall, fighting a giant balloon robot in a bizarre soccer variant. Ah, heck. Like, you gotta wonder how they came up with this. And why soccer? Like, who decided this was clearly the best game? This was the mini game that would be used to represent a Pokemon honing its abilities to maximize its combat potential. I mean, they were clearly right. Clearly, this is the way to go if you want your Pokemon to be superpowered. It's just make it play soccer against giant balloons. But, you know, who figured that out? Getting pretty close to being done on Sully. Here we go. These will be a couple of good hits. Probably won't go for too much longer. I wasn't planning on this being an especially long stream. And we don't really have any major battles that I think we'll have time to get to tonight. So there's a good chance I'll just prep for things between streams. And get the latest bunch trained up in the stats I want them trained in. Ooh, that was a good one. That might be sub 30. Hey, 26 seconds. Oh, heck. Shouldn't have gone into that last round. I was out of room for punching bags. Alright. These guys are going to punch away at these for a little bit. These punching bags, most of them are the large bags, which give 12 EVs. These will either get us close to being done, or actually finish training Sully in defense. I still don't get how punching a punching bag is going to train you in anything except attack, but you know what? Maybe it's not the game. Maybe it's me that's wrong. Maybe punching a punching bag is actually the perfect way to learn how to defend to learn defensive tactics. Maybe they're making punching bags more aggressive these days. I don't know, I never really imagined punching bags as aggressive. I could imagine a passive aggressive punching bag though. Oh. Okay, we've maxed out Sully's base defense. We are going to give Poison Ivan some more special attack. And then back to Sully for a little bit more HP training. That's the thing I like about HP training. Ooh. A double up bag. These things are very useful. So the next time we go into super training, it'll double the amount of EVs we get. Alright, Sully. Just a couple more rounds. And I think we're getting close enough that it might actually be worthwhile to use the bags now and potentially save some time in the super training. Okay, we've got a little bit further to go. How's everyone in chat doing? Y'all hanging in there? See, part of the trick when they give you those ones that you can aim for repeatedly is to try and pre-fire on them. So like Relicanth will pop up 3 goals at a time, and if I break through 3 sets of those in a row, then the extra goal will show up. So the trick is to already have a couple of shots going for the extra goal before I think that's maxed out. Okay, you know what? I think that might be a good time to call it. I think that might be a good time to call it, and save and call that the stream, because honestly, first of all, couldn't really ask for a nicer scene to end on. That's one thing that this game did really well, was the graphics are all very nice. It's one of the most aesthetically pleasing Pokemon games. But I think that's about all I've got for tonight. I didn't plan on a very long stream, and It's been about 2.5 hours, so I think we'll call it there. Thanks everyone who joined in and everyone who chatted, and yeah, y'all have a great evening, and I'll see you next time. I should be streaming tomorrow about maybe 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock Mountain Time. But yeah, have a good evening, and bye-bye.